Who are you when nobody is watching? Who are you when there's no one around? When there's no camera in sight, there's no audience to impress, and there's no crowd to feed off of? Who are you when you're by yourself? The truth is, the answer is quite simple, but because of that simplicity, most people never take the time to search for it. And because of this, many people live their whole lives without ever truly discovering who they really are. So, when you're alone, do you maintain that same integrity that you show online or with your friends? Are you living the way that you portray on social media? Or are you just like everybody else, putting on a mask to hide the insecurities that you're trying to cover up? A few years ago, I found myself in a situation that really forced me to ask myself these questions. I was spending so much time on social media trying to keep up with everyone else, what they were doing, trying to create the perfect image of my life. One night I was just scrolling through my feed, and just like anybody else, I came across this post from somebody that I actually admired. They were on vacation, living their best life, and I couldn't help but feel like I was falling behind. I felt like this wave of insecurity wash over me, and I was working long hours, barely getting any rest, and here they were enjoying life without a care. It was a wake-up call. In that moment, I realized something. I was comparing my real messy life to someone else's highlight reel, and suddenly everything that I thought I was doing right felt wrong. And I think many of us, especially in my generation, have fallen into this trap, myself included. But the good news is that I'm going to show you exactly how to find the answer to this for yourself. And it's simple, too simple, in fact, and that's exactly why so many people miss it. We've been overlooking it, but I'm going to break it down for you. The harsh truth is that most of us aren't practicing what we preach. The life we display on social media, or that we try to show off to the people that we know, is rarely the life that we're actually living. It's just the version of ourselves that we want to project to others. So when I ask you, who are you when nobody's watching, many of us simply don't have an answer. Why? Because the constant noise, the distractions, the pressures of this world that keep us from truly connecting with who we are. Plus, figuring out who we are really is hard work. But also, when no one's watching you, are you truly living the same way that you want to be living? The way that you want others to see? And even if you're practicing what you preach, are you truly living the life that you're presenting to the world? Again, the answer for most people is no. So there are countless ways to fix this, and I'll explain some of those solutions shortly. But before we go there, let's take a step back and ask, why does this problem even exist? Why do we feel the need to lie on social media or to the people that you know? The obvious answer is we want to show our perfect moments and hide the moments of struggle. But I believe that the real reason runs deeper. In my own experience, I've realized many times the image that I project comes at a place of trying to fulfill something that I'm missing in real life. So if you take to the virtual world to show off, then deep down, you'll find that for real life, you're only going to make it more difficult for yourself. And it never pays off in the long run. When it comes to social media, for example, there's no longer just social media. It becomes a virtual reality. I mean, I could sit here and make a video preaching positivity, love, and peace, and then go out and act a completely different way, and no one would know. But that's the crazy part about it. I post my best moments for you guys all to see, and I'm going to start getting into the struggles a little bit more. I think that's where the real stories are. And instead of showing my best moments, you guys are going to get to be able to get to relate to me more and more. And I can help you more and more. The truth is that the people with the perfect feeds have imperfect lives. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I've been trying to be real. I've shared, some personal stories, some mistakes, some imperfections, some pointers here and there. Everything really. But the truth is that nobody knows my deepest struggles, because I'm only sharing what I'm willing to share. And we all live in this illusion that we want to be loved and accepted. We're emotional beings. We crave connection. For example, everybody knows this, Mark Zuckerberg, one of the biggest social media creators around, and others have found a way to make us feel loved. It's easy to swipe up on someone's story, leave a compliment, and move on. But it takes real effort to engage in a conversation. Give a real compliment face to face, or build a genuine connection. This whole cycle of projecting a perfect life while secretly struggling only fuels the insecurity and pressures that we feel. And this is a problem everybody's doing. So when we look at our own lives and we see gaps between what we're showing and who we are, we feel disappointed. But in reality, that gap is where our growth lives. It's the space where we have room to evolve and move closer to becoming the person that we want to be. The love that we feel on social media is just filling a void that we have in real life. So sure, it feels good to be complimented online because it's from a real person, but it doesn't feel like it. We get that quick boost from a like or a comment, but then we move on looking for the next fix. And then we start wondering why our numbers aren't growing, why we don't have as many followers or likes as we think we should. And the answer is quite simple. We're not really being ourselves. So here's the thing. When nobody's watching, we realize that our real lives, our true average moments don't seem interesting enough to share. We're not living a life that would be entertaining to everybody. So we put on a persona. We create a false image of ourselves, a persona that we think is more acceptable. But that's not who we really are, and the truth is, no one can sustain a false image forever. We all want our lives to seem like they're part of a movie, but here's the truth. Movie characters don't just sleep through their days. You never see them driving to a store without anything exciting happening, or sitting in a class with no drama. You only see the interesting parts of their lives. The highs, the moments of conflict, the action. That's what we're trying to replicate on social media. If we had a movie about someone just sleeping for 20 minutes, nobody would watch it. It's boring. And yet we see our own lives in the same light. We think that if we're not consistently performing or achieving, then our lives are boring. But the reality is that's the beauty in the mundane, quiet, and peaceful moments. The more we accept that, the less pressure we feel to constantly perform. The more we embrace who we really are, the flaws, the messes, the imperfections, and all that, the more genuine connections we're going to make with others. Because people don't connect with the perfect image. They connect with authenticity. The sad truth is sometimes people lie on social media for money, and I've talked about this before, but I think the influencers who claim to be all about self-improvement, growth, and living like the ideal life, it's a trap. We're more likely to take advice from someone who seems perfect rather than somebody who's clearly flawed. But the truth is, the flawed person may actually be more genuine, more relatable, and have a better understanding of what it takes to improve. Those who fake perfection often do so because they're insecure about wanting more clicks, more views, more validation. And the people who buy into that image, they're the ones who get hurt. Why do we keep lying about our lives, and why do we let ourselves be deceived? It's simple. We don't want to feel vulnerable. We're afraid of showing our true selves when no one's watching. But here's the thing. You might be thinking, who cares if I'm pretending to have the perfect life? Some of you are posting this perfect stuff on social media. I'm still helping people, right? You might be saying, but it's not that simple. It affects everybody. The person watching your video or following your Instagram story starts idolizing you. They believe that your perfect life is something that they should aspire to, and eventually they'll hold themselves to some impossible standard. That pressure to be perfect will mentally be draining them, and then the cycle continues. So, how do we break the cycle? How did I stop falling into this trap? Honestly, I still struggle with it as a teenager. Sometimes I felt the need for validation, but I've learned not to let it control me. The key to stopping this cycle is simple. Spend time alone, because we're so distracted by social media and other people's lives that we forget to check in with ourselves. We forget to understand who we are and what we want. The first step to change is to stop looking at others, stop looking at other people, and start looking at yourself. If something needs to change in your life, don't look at others for the answer, look inward. If there's something you love about your life, cherish it. Spend time with yourself, and once you're comfortable being alone and secure in who you are, you don't need validation from anybody else. I'm still on that journey. I'm still learning to embrace my flaws and be more secure in who I am. The first step was recognizing that I wasn't secure in myself, and that change needed to happen. I had to stop searching for answers everywhere else except for from looking in. Here's the tough reality. You're going to watch this video and think that you're going to follow the same path that I took, but everyone's journey is different. My journey might have been quicker than yours, or it might have taken longer. But the key to any change is recognizing the need for it. And that's the first step. When you finish this video, I want you to reflect on who you really are. Who you are when no one's watching. And I think you'll surprise yourself more than you realize. It's so easy to get caught up in what others think of us, how many followers we have, how perfect our posts are, how many likes that we get on our photos. But at the end of the day, those things don't define us. They never have, and they never will. The more time I've spent reflecting and focusing on my personal growth, the more I've realized that the opinions of others, especially those online, are fleeting. They don't last. What really stays with you, though, is your integrity, your authenticity, and your ability to be real with yourself. Whether someone is watching you or not, it's easy to be on when the spotlight is shining on you, but you can be your true self when there's no applause and no camera and no validation, that is much better. That's where the real power lies. When you're comfortable in your own skin, when you can look in the mirror and feel proud of who you are, regardless of how others perceive you. There's a freedom in knowing you don't need to be anyone else but yourself. This message is something that a lot of people need to be hearing, not just myself. And I want to leave you with this. The next time you find yourself slipping on a trap of comparison, take a step back, ask yourself, what part of my life do I need to be real about? Let go of the need to please others, the need to present the perfect image. Instead, focus on being authentic and being kind to yourself even when you're alone. Because of that, at the end of the day, when you stop pretending, when you stop hiding, when people stop having these social media personas, we become stronger, we become more resilient, and become more connected to the people who truly matter. And that in and of itself is a great success. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace out.